3 additional embeds with Agyapong. We also have an embed with Educhum and Champon across the country. Wherever they are today, we are there. They will vote. We will be there live when they cast your ballot and they speak to us. You want to stay with us for that. We don't want you to miss anything. Also today, we're going to be speaking very exclusively, part of this coverage, with a man who led this inquisition about why the NPP lost the 2024 elections. This is really the first test, the first real step in this journey back to the semblance of a sudden rebuild. And that man really led this process that started with these investigations across the country. He will join us. Professor Michael Quay will join us later today. This is where you want to be. I want to go live now to Kweku Asante, who is at the NPP headquarters. And Kweku, from what I can see, the stage is really set for what is going to prove to be a very important day, make or break for this party.
Evans, that is the situation here at the New Patriotic Party headquarters, and polling has actually just opened because apart from this place being the epicenter of all the political activities that are ultimately going to happen today, this is also a polling station, and 2 persons have already cast their vote, and the numbers here, 153 people are expected to vote here, including the 2 former presidents, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, President John Agyapong Kufuor, and then there's also a vice president in the mix. We know that there is currently only one living former vice president. And so I see his name on the list that we have, and that will be Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, which will mean that the expectations that we have that Mahmoud Bawumia may have gone to the Northeast region to go and vote may not be a right assumption. Perhaps he will turn up here to vote, but we'll get to see that pretty shortly. So it is not a very big polling station, just about 153 people voting here. But also you see behind me a whole stage that has been mounted. It tells you that this is not just going to be a polling station. It is going to be the place that ultimately a leader may be crowned. If the winner is decided today, he will be here to give a speech to the members of the party together with the other persons who may not have won. They will also be here to speak out clearly in terms of what they make of the process that have gone so far. People that I've been speaking to say they do not expect a runoff. They expect a one-touch for whoever will win. But we will see that after 2 o'clock when the polling closes across the country. Over here at 7 o'clock on the dot, the polling opened. Just at 7 o'clock, the first person cast their vote. We've just seen a number of elderly party people, founding members, all coming here to cast their vote, because this is very crucial for the New Patriotic Party, and the premise you lay really sets the foundation for when you come here and you speak to any person that is connected to the process. They tell you about what they believe this is a very defining moment in the life of the opposition New Patriotic Party, the party that was in office just a little over a year ago, losing by 1.7 million votes. And so 153 persons expected to vote here out of the 211,000 people that are voting nationwide. Evans, the stage is set. You see a stage literally behind you. So let me talk to Mr. Evans Timako pretty shortly. He's a member of the Elections Committee, but he's also the Director of Elections for the New Patriotic Party. It's 7:14. What is the process looking around the country, and what feedback are you getting?
Well, as you've seen, I mean, we've committed this whole exercise into the hands of the Almighty God. We're counting on the Electoral Commission and the Ghana Police Service. The environment you see at the headquarters, I can assure you that it's the same thing happening in all the 332 other voting centers. It's early days, and we expect that we'll have a nice environment, nice weather, and with your support, the world will know how the New Patriotic Party is getting this whole exercise done. And we know that at the end of the day, the victory will be that of the New Patriotic Party.
Just a quick clarification. Is Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia expected to vote here? Because I have a list that I'm looking at, and it says 3 former presidents and a vice president will vote here. We know that the vice president, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, is the only living former vice president in the NPP. Do you have any idea if he's voting here or he's going to Wale Wale?
I think for all of them, you know that if you're a voter, you know where exactly you are voting. The Council of Elders are voting, and members of the National Council are voting here. Members of the National Executive Committee national offices, external branches, and the wings are voting. And so, if you're a member to that extent, you'll be voting here. I know that if you look into our constitution, members of the National Council vote here, and as former vice president, he is a member of the National Council, definitely he'll be voting here. But you may have to check whether he transferred or not.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mastimako, Director of Elections and member of the Elections Research Team, giving us an idea of what to expect going into today. So, Evans, the stage is set here, and it's literal. You see right the stage behind me. It is set for the eventual winner, if it comes to that, if there's no runoff, to mount the podium and speak to the country and speak to members of the New Patriotic Party about what his vision and plans will be for the next little close to 3 years of active campaigning that will ultimately have to happen if the New Patriotic Party have any chance at regaining the power they lost in 2024. Evans.
And Kweku, this obviously is a stage for a lot of the happenings today, the epicenter. Now let's speak a bit about security. There's a lot has been said about security in the build-up to today. The NPP says they have intelligence that the national security operatives are going to be deployed somehow with affiliation with the NDC. I see a police officer in your shot. How heavy is the police around you? Is the security around you?
Situation is here as tight as it could get. In fact, for those of you who are very familiar with the NPP head office here in Asylum Down, it has a road right in front of it. The road has been barricaded at the exit and at the front, and so no vehicles are allowed to go through or the frontage of the New Patriotic Party, unless of course we're a delegate who is coming to vote here, and then the barricades may be open for you to come in here and then go and vote. There is a big police route vehicle right across the street where I'm standing, a big police route vehicle where I've seen at least 20 police officers, men and women, right here at the New Patriotic Party. And in fact, just when I was entering, there was a parade of the police officers here, at least 20 of them. And so just here at the party headquarters where just about 150 people are voting, the security situation is very tight. And I'm getting told that at 2 p.m. when polling close across the nation and people's expectations tend towards here, there will be reinforcement and more police officers will be here, because ultimately, if a winner is decided here and he comes here together with the other losing candidates, the number situation here will be very, very exponential, and that is why the police situation here will be actually much bigger than what we've seen this morning. But for a polling station with just about 150 votes, we have 20 people here. There's a police route vehicle just parked outside the New Patriotic Party headquarters, and the organization is quite seamless. When you come in here, you have to show your accreditation, whether you're a delegate. I've seen people that are very powerful and very popular within the NPP, but if I have to go through the same process, you park your vehicle elsewhere, you walk in, unless of course you have mobility issues like we've seen with one elderly delegate that came in just about 5 minutes ago. You have to go through the process like everybody else, show your accreditation, show your Ghana card. In fact, right at the entrance, you have to show that you are a delegate on the list before you'll be allowed to get into the premise to actually come in here. So the security situation here is fantastic. A lot of police officers, route control vehicle, and the party's own internal security at the arrangement right at the side and side. And so it's shaping up to be a very, very important election. And I think someone has just voted, and so I'm just going to talk to them also. You just voted. Who are you? What do you do, and why are you a delegate here?
Yeah, I'm a member of NPP UK, and we're supposed to vote at the headquarters. I hear you saying that there are about 100 and something delegates here. 150, we are more than that. UK alone, we are 65 voting here. So we are more than that. We're talking about thousands. Really? Yeah.
Yeah, so we are getting some data from our team and some of the data that your party has supplied also. But you've gone through the process.
Yes.
How seamless has it been for you?
Okay, it's perfect. Perfect. Yeah. Perfect? There's no problem.
You don't have any challenge?
No challenge whatsoever.
Okay, yeah. So those of you in the NPP UK and you personally, what are your own expectations for this very big day in the life of the NPP?
I think it will bring unity, and you all know the person who's going to win. You know, so it's surely here. By the grace of God, it's Dr. Bawumia who is going to win and will unite this party. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
And so the elderly person that I told you had come to vote is the one that just left. So Evans, it's a very orderly situation here. Delegates are coming in. It's 7:19 by my time, and I think about 8 people have already cast their vote. and we expect the General Secretary to come in any moment from now. We are told by the RISEC team and the election team that the party national delegate and the national executives will also be coming here. This is where they will cast their ballot. Ultimately, we expect President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the former president, to be here, former President John Agyapong to be here, and if anything in the data that I have is anything to go by, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. But as you hear from Evans Pinako, perhaps he may have transferred his vote and our data may be a bit belated.
Kweku will stay with us throughout the day. Brace will join him as we bring you the from the NPP headquarters. I want to take you right now to one of our embeds with one of the two main front runners in this particular race. As it has been said, there are 5 individuals in this race, as you see them in the backdrop there. But the polls suggest that it's going to be a 2-horse race between him in first and him in third. I want to go to him in third right now with an embed. My colleague Kyerematen is embedded with the Dr. Bawumia camp and joins us right now. Tell me, where's Dr. Bawumia as we speak this morning?
Well, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia should be expected to cast his ballot at the party's headquarters, just like the other 4 candidates as well. But here at the campaign office, though, you might see that there's not a lot of activities going on. That is because most of the individuals that are going to come here are either on their way to vote or at the voting centers right now. And this is where everything is going to happen. In this building, there's a coalition center being set up right now. They are going to be receiving the results from across the 276 constituencies in this particular building. And of course, in a matter of about an hour or 2, people are going to start trooping in, especially after they are done casting their votes. And then there are other setups that are going on as well. I want to take you there. There is a makeshift conference center, and that is where every announcement is going to be done. The glass door that you see right there is a makeshift conference center that is being set up right now. So what is going to happen in this particular building is that intermittently, if any information is available, the team will come here and address delegates and as well address the nation. So this is the setup there. It's not done. It's partly done, but we're still waiting for the finishing touches to be done. So this is where every announcement from Team Bawumia is going to come from. And then to my right is the media center. The media center is where the media, including myself, is going to be based. We're going to be based here. We'll be reporting live from here, whatever information that we have. And just like the makeshift conference center, the media center is also now being set up right now. They're setting up some monitors there. A couple of monitors are being set up there. And of course, not long ago, Anthony Abeifakabo, who is a leading member of the NPP, was here, but he's left, I believe, going to cast his ballot. And there are a number of individuals also who are currently in this building setting up for what is to come today. So, Evans, really not much is happening here, but as I mentioned earlier, this place is going to spring into life in a matter of about an hour or 2 from now.
Thank you very much. And that day is Kyerematen from the Bawumia Nerve Center there. And as you see, they've already really set up for this. I'll be taking you across the country pretty shortly, bring you an update on the voting, which started, I believe, some 30 minutes ago or so, thereabout, to bring you the very latest as delegates begin to cast your ballot. And I want to take you right now to my colleague Michelle, who is embedded with the Educhum camp. That's him right there, and he was, the former education minister, who is also vying to lead the party today. Hello, Michelle. What can you tell us? There was, we had those reports that he already may be in the Ashanti region in his constituency to cast his ballot. Has he already flown out of Accra?
But he...
Right. Evans, this morning we are expecting to see Dr. Educhum in Bosomtri. He's going to cast his ballot at the St. George SHS, which is in Quintanasi. And that's where exactly we are going to see him today. But he's expected to return to Accra immediately after casting his ballot. Currently at his office in East Legon, not much activity is going on because most of the members of his campaign team are out to cast their ballots. and return to the office. So not much activity here, but we're expecting to receive Dr. Yawse Duchum here when he returns to Accra later today. Okay,
that's just giving us a quick insight into what is happening in the camp of Yawse Duchum, who is hoping that he may cause an upset today. And I want to go to some of our correspondents who are just also standing by across the country. As I told you, we are everywhere today, across the day, bringing you the very latest. I believe we can go to the northern region. That's my colleague Martina, who is standing by for us. Yes, let's do Martina, who is joining us right now, I believe, from the northern region. And you may know that the party has set up voting centers in every constituency, and Martina is there for us. Martina, which constituency are you right now? And I can see there's a lot of activity behind you.
Yes, so at the Tamale Central constituency, and voting just started a while ago. This morning, we arrived here around 6. We saw the police deploying their teams to the various constituencies for the exercise. Right now, the voting has just started, and about 3 people have voted so far. In this election, we have 922 people who are on the album, but we are told that 18 are deceased. And so today, 904 are expected to vote at the end of the day. As we speak now, just about 3 people have cast their votes. It's orderly and voting has just started.
Okay. And Martina, talk to us about security, because I know that where you are is one of the areas that the police had flagged as an area that deserves special attention. What do you see?
Heavy police presence here. We have some even with camera on them. You can see every corner of the polling center is filled with police officers. And they have taken round the first, they've gone round the first decoy. And so when you enter, you would have to go through the police first before you can get to where the EC is stationed. And so there's heavy security presence at the Tamale Central constituency.
And I want to take you, thank you very much, Martina. I want to go to Tema right now because I have, Central Region rather. Central Region, Abigail Aysel is joining us. And Central Region is important, Kofi, and we'll come to that because of Kennedy Agyapong. And so we're going to be watching that. We understand he possibly may be voting in his constituency. He was a member of parliament up until fairly recently. So that is an interesting area for us. But Abigail, there's a lot of focus today on what the Central Region will do. What can you tell us? The voting is now started. It's just almost now 7:30.
Right. So I'm currently at the Roniduma MA Basic School in the KEA constituency. As at exactly 7 o'clock, voting started. I've counted about 10 people who have already voted as at this time I'm speaking to you. There is heavy security presence. I've counted more than 30 police officers, and I see some of them still trooping in and going out as well. And before you get to the voting area, you need to show your accreditation to ensure that you are really allowed to be within the area before you are supposed to be here. Very soon, I'll also be going to the Asen Central constituency where one of the aspirants, Kennedy Agyapong, is expected to be present. I'm not sure of the information at the moment, but I'll be going there to find out. But currently where I am in the KEA constituency, voting has started, security is tight, and everything is running smoothly.
Thank you very much, Abigail. And that's Abigail giving us a sense of what has happened there and where he is. And I want to go to Bono East right now, where Anas Sabete is standing by for us. And has voting started, and did it start smoothly?
Evans, voting started here in the Techiman South constituency, where we have 2 polling stations because of the huge number of delegates here. Voting started at exactly 7 a.m. As I speak to you, both polling centers have recorded over 15 voters so far. Voting station A currently recorded about 25 persons who have already cast their ballots. The other polling station is also doing around 16, 17 voters already. There's heavy security here. In fact, the voting center is, fenced, and so at the entrance, whoever gets in has to be scanned, searched properly, and then they also ensure that you are a delegate before you are allowed access in here. I'm yet to see party tax as we see in, previous elections. But as I speak to you now, the police are currently in charge of the voting centers here in Kyerematen South. And the Electoral Commission is actually doing its work, devoid of any harassment. And the voters or the delegates are also obeying instructions. You can see behind me, they are all in the queue, obeying instructions and then ensuring that they do cast their ballots as expected. And after voting, there's an exit. You pass through the exit out and then you go. So heavy security in Kyerematen South. The police are having body cams like we've seen in other parts.
It's already just 30 minutes into voting. I get a sense that the delegates are showing up early to cast their ballot, because as you were saying, a sizable number of the delegates are already in the queue and have already cast their ballot 30 minutes in.
Yes, Evans, I see a lot of people. In fact, the queue is very, very long. You see that people really want to come early and then cast their ballots so they could maybe leave and then attend to other, activities. And because the voting centers has been split into two, officers in this part of the country are hoping or are praying that they'll be able to end the process as early as possible. So here, I'm quite surprised that within 30 minutes, both polling stations are recording around 30, voters already. Everything is smooth here, and we are hopeful.
But we'll pick up on that. One of the key things that is very important is that the party has set 2 p.m. close of poll, and they've actually anticipated that they should be able to declare the final results by 3. And the sense I get is if the delegates show up early, as we are now reporting across the country, they could be done by 12, really.
Because the average I'm getting is about 10 to about 12 voters per 30 minutes we've seen so far. If that process continues, we are likely to actually get a delegate to vote even before the 2 p.m. deadline.
And then EC can quickly go into collating. I want to take you to one of the other aspirants in his camp. As I told you, we are embedded with all of them, correspondence with them. We don't want to miss anything. We don't want you to miss anything. I want to take you to Collins. And Collins is in the Agyapong camp, and he is there for us. Where is Agyapong as we speak, Collins?
Currently, what I've been informed is that he's in his house preparing with the team, and he will move to his campaign office, which is along the ring road in Accra here. And the information I've heard is that he will be voting between the hours of 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. at their party headquarters in Accra. And he has also put in measures that he doesn't want to go and clash with anyone at the party headquarters voting at the same time. So he's trying to also make due diligence and find out that whenever he's ready to go, he doesn't go and meet any other candidate who is voting, so that it doesn't create any sort of confusion or conflict between the candidates. But here at the his campaign office here in Accra along the ring road, when I got there, I've seen just that the place has been silent compared to how Dr. Bawumia's camp and other camps are also reporting. Here is quite silent. No one is here at the moment, and no executive. Just few people here. The receptionist also working here. But the information I'm taking is that from 8:30 to 9 a.m., people will start trooping in here, and they are going to set up a polling center that they have named it as Go TV. So that's what they will be doing, collating all their results here, and hopefully that they will.
Okay, that's Agyapong's camp there on the ring road where Collins is reporting from. I want to take you to the camp of Kennedy Agyapong, and that's where we find my colleague Fatal Bayaga, who is standing by with the very latest. Where is Kennedy Agyapong going to vote? Is he going to travel to the central region? Has he left already? And what is it that his camp is saying this morning?
Evan, so this morning, Kennedy, we're told that has traveled to the central region where he is expected to cast his ballot this morning. So he went with a host of other, campaign managers to the Central constituency where we understand he will be casting his vote. And this morning, Evans, at the moment, there's not so much activity here at his party office at Shiashi. At the moment, we're told that many of the supporters of Kennedy Agyapong are delegates. So all of them have gone to vote, and after voting, you see these empty spaces here. I'm told that all of them will be taken by people, and Kennedy Agyapong himself, after casting his ballot, he is going to head to this particular place. According to the managers here, the coalition center, they have an internal coalition center that has been set up, but is restricted to the public or the media at the moment. But as and when they are ready, that would be open to the media and other officers who will be managing that. They also have a press center that will be giving us information as and when information starts trickling in. So it's quite very interesting here at the at Kennedy Agyapong's campaign office here at Shiashi.
And but Fatal, thank you very much. And there's something that happened yesterday, Fatal. I don't know if you picked up on that and can shed some light on it for us, because yesterday there was a statement that appeared to have been issued from the camp of Kennedy Agyapong. One of the very final statements we saw raising questions about the transport of voting materials, etc. And then later we got word that there's some controversy even within the camp itself whether or not the statement was indeed issued and was authentic. I don't know if, Fatal, you've got some clarity on that, and if they are happy with the opening of polls so far and how things have gone. Have you got any word on that? Because yesterday, concerns about transfer of ballots and how it's been transferred, marked and unmarked vehicles. Are they happy with the way the polls have started so far?
Evans, at the moment, I spoke with some of them, and they say that they are quite excited with how the process has been so far. But I have one of the officers here, one of the managers here at the Kennedy Agyapong's campaign office. Let me talk to her briefly about the process so far. Madam, thank you very much. You're live on JoyNews at the moment. From where you said you are monitoring the process here at the campaign office, what's the impression so far that you're picking?
First of all, we have to give thanks to the Lord, because we've been waiting for this day. We thank God this day is here finally. So far, it's all good. We can say God has been faithful to us. Actually, last night we were all here, and we are excited for today. So far, everything is in order, and we are waiting.
But yesterday there were concerns, particularly we saw a statement floating on social media about the fact that some ballot boxes or papers were transported in an inappropriate manner, and some members of your camp were raising concerns about that. Talk to us about that.
Anyway, the Ghana police, they're up to their game. So we've taking everything into their hands, and they are doing a great job. So at the moment, we don't have any problem at all. Once there is anything, yesterday they dealt with it, so everything is okay. Yes, we don't have any problem with that at all. They are up to their game, and they are doing a great job.
So you have your agents monitoring the process across the country, and basically at the moment, what's the information you're picking? Is everything going on well for them?
Everything is going on smoothly. This morning, we put our men out there yesterday, so everyone is on duty. Yes, so we are yet to know what's going on today. Yes.
So Kennedy is currently in the central region. Talk to us about his mood ahead of today.
Oh my goodness. Our father, our number one, is definitely there at the moment. He's going to cast his votes because, he's the people's man. So we are all excited. And, as the son of his place, he has to go there and cast his ballots. So, yes.
All right. Thank you very much. That's Darlene Barney, as the Deputy Secretary in charge of fundraising for Kennedy Agyapong's campaign team. So that's the situation here at the Kennedy's office here at Shiashi. It's been quite empty, but Evans, in the next few hours, this place will be taken over by supporters, and the aspirant himself will be here.
I want to take you to Ablekuma North, where Sheila is standing by. Sheila, voting has started there. How is that progressing?
Well, Evans, as you can see, the place is quite packed. We got here quite early, and even before the setup, delegates had already lined up. And as you can see, some of them are sitting on chairs, and voting is currently underway. We can count quite a number, but we're expecting 1,556 voters in total here at the Otoko Divisional Police Headquarters.
Sheila, thank you very much. And I want to come to the studio now. We've just been joined by the party's Director of Communications, Richard Ahiagba Ace, in the studio with us. Wingsing is here. We also have Kofi. And Richard, one of the things you're picking up on, it appears to be a trend, is that the delegates are showing up very early. Because at 7, queues are already formed. And from what we were reporting, it's very, very possible, if you look at the average numbers we are reporting now, that you'll be done way before the 2 p.m. if scheduled.
That would be good. Good morning to you and to all your viewers. I think that would be good for us if we close early. So the collation of the results, which will be done nationwide and at the headquarters of the EC, will be gone through quickly, and then we can do the announcement, the declaration, and the introduction before it's dark.
Kofi, let's go to some of the numbers now, so we can get Richard and Wingston to weigh in very quickly. This is important because we can set the context for what is about to happen. Wingston, what are the key numbers for you today? What are the key things that are important for you whilst we get Kofi to...
Yeah, before I even get into the numbers, I hear, our embed saying, the campaign teams, because the members are going to vote. I'm not sure that it's just because they're going to vote. See, this is the most crucial time. This is when you have to go out there and get people to vote. And in the morning of an election also, it's important to do a few things. Richard Ahiagba here understands. You have to mobilize people, push them out, sometimes motivate them to go and vote. And so that's what I think is being done. It's not a case of people going out there to go and vote. It's people going out there to actually go and push people to go and vote. But talking about numbers, Evans, we know that some 211,000 people are going to be voting. For me, based on what J. Kufuor got in 1998, 64% went into the 2000 elections and won. We've said that, look, every flag bearer, if you get less than 64%, you're not going to win the next election. And we saw that happening. J. Kufuor himself getting about 50-something% in 1996. He didn't get it in 1996 when he contested, okay? We've seen it with Dr. Bawumia, got 61% of the vote. He didn't get it in 2024. So for me, I say, whichever candidate, first of all, should win convincingly. Win in a way that shows that you have the party behind you. And Ado showed it in 2014, 94%.
Yeah, and Kofi, this is important. Walk us through the history, because the history is important for the party and how this pans out after today.
If you look at the presidential election race in terms of what candidate actually gets, in fact, this is the first time we saw a candidate attempting for the first time and winning by 61%. The key question is he going to maintain this number, or is there going to be a drop in terms of the trajectory? But you look at the history so far and you see what I told you. If you look at the first time attempt, Dr. Bawumia 61% is the highest, and just like what Winston was saying, from 56% from Dubois in 1992. You can see that, there's that sort of continuity in terms of repeating candidates. But the key question we're asking today is that, are we going to see the same pattern? But this number stands out in terms of attempting it for the first time and winning by 61%.
That is interesting, right? Because the point you're making has been a key part of their campaign message, which is that if you look at the trend, all of them were repeated after their first attempt and failing in the national election.
Except for Dubois.
Except Dubois, obviously.
In fact, he attempted for the second time, but actually lost, right? And in fact,
you know how what we always do in 1992, we always create an exception for it and create an outlier, if you like. But so we always look here. But that has been a key message for them, that, that's strong. And so if I've lost one, don't discount me yet, bring me back. Whether the delegates buy that or not.
In fact, it's not just about this number. Some of the delegates are also looking at, the real election, the main election, the ultimate. After we select a candidate, what are our chances in 2028? But the statistics is telling you that if you look at delegate election, it's one that you cannot pick the data and say that it will tell you something about the national election, because you are talking about a population of party delegates. That is not how the entire nation may be thinking. The delegate might give somebody over 60% or 64%, but in terms of the national election, there are so many indicators involved that delegates may not be looking at. If you look at the over 211,000 voters who are actually going to vote today, I mean, the big question has been, you know, the ability to influence people to vote in your direction. That is why that number has been, you know, increased.
And let me ask Richard that. Richard, this is the largest delegate you've ever taken to any primary. And Kofi was making a point about how that then gets to translate and gives you a sense of what then, because whoever you elect today must win the national elections, right? Does it help your case that you have a big, large section of the Ghanaian population, 211,000 of them, who are going to be voting? Does that help your case at all?
Absolutely, it's consequential because it's one of the key issues we struggled with, and part of the Makokwe Review Committee's inputs that they brought forth is the closeness of the Electoral College in selecting the flag bearers. And so this is a direct answer to that concern in our party. So it opens up the party. We have a lot more people who have a stake in the party, who have served the party in the past and all of that, have history and have a good sense of where the party should be going, are going to contribute to this decision. So I think that it would help us arrive at a candidate who is the best fit for the contest ahead. So that is instructive for us, and hopefully that convergence of ideas will lead us to finding the candidate that can win the election.
And you're looking at the margins over the last few elections.
This number will come up today strongly that, well, we've not had a candidate who went into the national election and possibly got defeated by that in margin since the 2000s. 14.9% is the number that we are looking at. So what we did was that we actually sampled 9 polls to actually test what the polls are saying in terms of where they think that today's election is going to be. And in total, the 9 polls that we sampled, in fact, the first one we did was the 8 polls. I'll talk to you about the 9 polls. They actually spoke to about 140,000 delegates. And Evans, this is more than half of the over 200,000 delegates we're expecting to vote. How is it looking at based on what the delegates are telling the pollsters? This is an aggregator of all the polls, and you know how they do it in the US is what they call the poll of polls. How is that looking like? And in terms of the averages, Dr. Bawumia, according to the 8 polls we sampled initially, puts him somewhere around 45.9%. Kennedy Agyapong is around 37%. Brian Agyapong, 64%. Dr. Yaosei Duchum, 2%. Kwabena Agyapong, 1%. And you still have about 8% of the delegates, which for me, when we did the math, about 16,000 delegates.
And Winston, weighing on this for me, that number keeps coming up in all the polls. This is huge undecided or undisclosed voters. How influential will this be in the eventual outcome?
Well, they actually decide, you know, because they're telling you, I'm not going to tell you how I'm going to vote. Why they do not say it, I do not know. But they would want to keep it to themselves. Of course, your vote is always your secret, and they keep it. And Kofi, what we saw in the 2023 is that a lot of the undecided, or I wouldn't disclose, voted in a particular way, right?
Yeah, exactly. And in fact, if you look at the polls versus the actual, what you see is that if you look at where the polls actually put Dr. Bawumia, it was around 43%. If you add the voters who told the pollsters that they were not going to decide or they were undisclosed, that actually gave you the exact 61.4% in the 2023.
Are you suggesting that the undecided tended to vote for Bawumia?
Exactly, in the previous one.
In the 2023
election. But this time around, you have what we are calling the combined third force in the person of Dr. Brian Agyapong, Dr. Yaosei Duchum, and Kwabena Agyapong. If you add the 3 of them together, are they able to influence the outcome of today's election? Because Winston, we're doing the analysis trying to see where each of the candidates were in 2023 and how that could play out today. That's the road to 50% plus 1, because you need that to actually win the election. And you can see how the delegates, the voter population of the delegates has actually increased. And I was making a point that this has gone up by more than 100 times since 1992 events. And the main reason is to make sure that nobody actually is able to influence the delegates via vote buying. And if you do the math, the intelligence we are getting in terms of how, people are receiving transport and all of that, if you really want to influence this number, you need over 100 million Ghana cedis to reach every delegate. But the road to 50% plus one for us is very important, because today, the expectation is that over 211,000 delegates will go and vote, but definitely you don't expect all of them to turn out. So 50% plus one for us, when we did the calculation, will mean that anybody who will win today's election, if it's 100% turnout, should be able to get about 105,926. But if we do it with a 95% turnout, how did we get this number? We are taking inference from the historical data. That used to be the 95%, the average for the turnout. If you use that for today's election, Winston, and we're doing this analysis, 50% plus one, it means 95% turnout, you need about 201,250 to turn out. How many do you need to actually get 50% plus one? You need 100,629. Winston, this was your point. Because if this is the number you require, let's do it candidate by candidate, Evans. Dr. Bawumia and Agyapong, just look at their 2023 figures. And Winston, 2023, Dr. Bawumia actually pulled 118,201. It means if he has to get 50% plus one today, he requires 100,629. Does he need additional vote if he is able to hold this constant? It simply means that he doesn't require any new votes if he's able to hold this population altogether.
This point is instructive because you're looking at the same delegates. Okay, there's been an additional 11,000 or so. Yeah. But you're looking at the base being the same, as in the people who voted in 2023 are the same people voting in 2026. And so if you're Dr. Bawumia, we're saying if Dr. Bawumia is able to hold on to his base from 2023, he's good to go. However, if you are Agyapong, you need to increase from the 71,991 to about, you can increase by 28,000.
Yeah, that's huge.
Okay, before you can win the election. And that's where, you find Dr. Bawumia's advantage. The fact that because he had 118,000 votes in the last election, he can say, okay, if I hold on to my base, and this is it, Evans, in the build-up to the 2023 election, there was the polling station elections, and the candidates went around ensuring that their people won, okay, and they kept data of those people. If they still have that data, and at the beginning of the year, once the NPP said we're going to go that route, if you were able to consistently keep base with them, keep in touch with them, then you are good to go.
And this is how Agyapong's team has flipped that argument. In 2023, and the assumption is that if he holds his base, Dr. Bawumia, in 2023, that was before the eventual poll, which is in 2024. Yeah. So he then argues, remember that election was basically, he was telling the delegates, I'm the guy who can deliver you the elections. Yeah. They didn't give it to him. They gave it to him. He goes to the polls, and then we've seen the margin of defeat that he suffered. Nobody has done it before. He's using that. He's been using that in this campaign against him, and to say, well, that delegate base that voted for him, the evidence showed that it didn't pan out. So you have to try me now. That is why he's believing that this 28,638, delegates will be on his side, because they've seen the eventual outcome when they decided not to give him. So change where you pitched your tent this time around, which has been his narrative. But let's bring in Richard Ahag. But Richard, obviously can't comment on who's going to win or lose. But tell me how sophisticated the NPP delegate is to try and understand these dynamics and make sense of it and decide who they give this to for 2028.
But Evans, just for asking the question and the context in which we're voting, you see that the delegate is not a simple-minded person. Because looking at how hard the candidates will have to campaign, Dr. Bawumia, Agyapong, for example, assuming they are walking in with 71, 118, Dr. Bawumia obviously shouldn't have to worry, really, because he has an excess of some 8,000 or 9,000 to play with. But it is not the case. They are actually hitting the constituencies, the polling stations, talking to people, even as we speak. But for the moratorium that has been imposed, they will be engaging. But I'm sure there are person-to-person contacts that are going on to mobilize the vote to go out and play and vote. So it is not a simple space. And I've heard the argument, people say that, oh, because there's the same delegates, who voted in 2023, thereby Dr. Bawumia winning, and so it's very likely, more than likely, it's going to be. No, the context is entirely different. To the extent you made a good point, the argument of the Agyapong campaign saying that, well, there's evidence now to show that you gave it to Bawumia, he didn't win. And so therefore that brings me up for consideration. That is a contest changer from 2023. Also we're in power then, but now we're not in power.
Yeah, that changes a lot. Give me your comments on that. How does that change the dynamic when you're electing a flag bearer in government and when you're electing the flag bearer in opposition? What's happened? You're a delegate, are you not?
Yes.
Yeah, so how does that affect
a lot of things to consider, because as a political party, our primary objective is to win political power. And so in this material moment, the delegate is thinking, who is the best fit? Okay, who is the best man out of the 5 to give us power? And that's where Agyapong's argument comes to the fore, to say that, look, there is one hand here, you gave it to Dr. Bawumia, he didn't win, so give it to me, I can win. That's the argument. But the delegate is going to be considering, what is the proof of that argument? And then history guides to say that, yes, we did same thing in 92 when we brought Dubois. And now, of course, you said that is an outlier. So let's move to Kufuor, for example. We brought Kufuor in 96. It didn't work out. So we repeated in 98. We brought him. Hence, we win election in 2000. And we did same with Akufo-Addo multiple times. And because of that consistency, he won. And so those two arguments are very forceful. The only instance you have evidence is the instance of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. So the delegate is going to consider this with very deep thoughts and really, I believe, will arrive at a decision that ultimately will be the best decision for the New Patriotic Party.
Winston.
Yeah, but you see, Evans, the argument about Kufuor in 1996, Kufuor in 1990, I've heard that argument. I've also heard the Dubois argument. Look, Kufuor in 1996, after he lost the election, didn't go away. He was very relevant in our politics and our national dialogue. Now, the fact that even Kufuor showed up at the swearing-in of Jerry John Rawlings endeared him to a lot of people, because in 1992, the NPP had written the stolen verdict, okay, and they didn't even take part in the parliamentary election. There were many who felt that that was something that was championed by Dubois. So amongst some floating voters at the time. Nana Akufo-Addo went in 2008, 2012, before he won in 2016. I've heard that argument, okay. Will the delegates buy that argument? If you go around, if you speak to some of the delegates, you may get the impression that they buy into it. There are others also who say that if Akufo-Addo was presented 3 times and he won when he was presented a 3rd time, then they would keep on presenting Dr. Bawumia until he becomes president. Okay, what happened to Akufo-Addo should happen to Dr. Bawumia. But in order to have that also, you must control the party. When I say you must control the party, look, everybody knows that Akufo-Addo, even before the 2007 primary, was the man to beat. Okay? And everybody looked forward to voting for Akufo-Addo, looked forward to an Akufo-Addo victory. By 2010, when he won by about 78%.
He was in total control.
He was in total control. And in fact, there are those who believe that even the change of the delegate system was done to suit President Akufo-Addo, or to suit then Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo in 2009 August at the Trade Fair Center. Does Dr. Bawumia have the same influence in the NPP? If he does, then he's in a good place. If he doesn't, then he's in a bad place. But of course, today is the day, and 1 hour in an election, Richard Anyagba here knows, is a long time. He knows that in the Koforidia conference, when he came there, then contesting with John Boedu, his campaign, going around people, and I saw him, he was going around telling people to vote for him, even though when he was not supposed to be campaigning, helped his cause. So today,
people are still going around doing that in the morning.
People are still going around. And you see, there's a lot of things that would happen today that would change the outcome. Who gets to win the election? Okay, there are people. Look, we're saying, oh, the turnout. There are people who are at home. They are waiting for the motivation before they get there to go and
Yeah, and you notice on that point, Richard, that is the turnout is important.
Yeah.
And we've gone to the various camps, and in each of the cases we've spoken to our embed, the place is empty because the guys managing the campaign are all out there getting the delegates out to vote. How important is that?
Well, Evans, they're probably praying, and so necessarily not out doing anything untoward. But yes, I agree with you that the person-to-person contact, phone calls, and the rest of those, it's just open display campaign is what you can't do, but engagements are possible at this time. But the point is clear that it's not an easy choice for the delegates today. And people who are out there, and evidence of what you've seen from the various headquarters shows that there's still work ongoing.
Yeah.
And so this is the seriousness of the decision that has to be made. But I like Winston, I think he came around to the same thinking to say that there's history, behind Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, but then also there's logic behind Ken's argument to say that, yes, so there are two options, one you elected and this me. But I think that the party often will be guided by history. And if what we have seen is anything to go by, not only in our party, the NDC has the same history as well, where they have repeated candidates over time. So that is not to say anything for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, but I'm just saying that on balance, if you are looking for any indicator going into this election, besides the number advantage that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has from 2023, needing to get perhaps less than what he got to win, actually a lot is going for him.
I want us to look at the hypothesis of repeat until you're successful, right? It comes with a very, very big conditional probability. That is, if you look at the case of Akufo-Addo, for instance, in 2008, that election actually went to a runoff before losing. 2012, that was an election, they wrote a stolen verdict, went to the Supreme Court and all of that.
But they still believe they won that election.
And so there was that sort of momentum and belief to delegate that we won. This is a man who won, sent the party to a runoff in 2008, even when we became a bit unpopular. 2012, they believed they won. That gave him that momentum in 2016 for the party or the delegate to say that they are going to repeat him. But if you look at Dr. Bawumia, for instance, the dynamics are a bit, different. And for delegates, if you look at the stochastic process, they are able to move between states, right? They move from one candidate to the other. And look at this number. It's almost about 72,000 delegates, even when NPP was in power, decided that, look, for us, we will stay with Kennedy Agyapong, right? You still have a significant component of delegates who have the highest probability of changing between candidates. And we made a case about even the combined third forces and all of that. But I want us to pay attention to this number. That is the new entrants, right? That's about 8,410. And these are majority top brass people of the party. And you know where, they tend to tilt towards.
Establishment candidates.
Exactly. And that, for me, today is going to play an important role, this big number. There's also the number of 2,240 candidates who voted, delegates who voted for either Adainimo or Efiri Akoto. This vote, plus the 8,000 we see so far, that will give you about 10,000 delegate vote for us today, which we think are for grabs. The key question is, who is going to take advantage of this big number and add to their cake?
Yeah, and that's an important point. And there's something I want to circle back on, which, Richard, I want to bring you in, and the question of being opposition and being in government. Because now that you are in opposition, the question, Winston, that we were weighing up before we came on air, for both candidates, is going to be very important for them going into whether they win or lose. It's a subject of, because you are in opposition, you have to do way more. Also because of the historic defeat that they suffered. And because you are a delegate, how are the delegates evaluating the ability to claw back what you lost? Because it's going to be monumental. Nobody had lost election the way you lost and claw back. John Mahama was the 2016, but the margin was smaller compared to now. Are they weighing who is in the, because I've heard the argument about we've already marketed one candidate.
Let's go ahead.
And let's sort of bring the candidate back in, because then we are not going to bring a new face. But then there's a conversation about what the other side is going to be doing. The other side will also have a fresh candidate on the ballot.
Right.
Is the delegate thinking about these big questions going into 2020 and making this decision today?
Absolutely, absolutely. And then the context is clear that we are not in power, so there's very little to fight about. Everybody's clear in their mind about the future. So this election is about the future. There isn't anything presently to quibble about why I would vote for A or B. It's about what future we're trying to build for our party. And so that is the preoccupation. And so I think that it's going to be, even though it's a complex and a heavy decision to make, it's going to be one with very limited alternatives to consider. So it's just principally the New Patriotic Party wants to win power. Who is the man to do it? Yeah. But, you know, I want to go back to the 2024 election.
2024.
Yes, and how bad we lost.
Yeah.
For me, I don't believe in that narrative that we lost badly, you know. And you make the point. Before there was 2024, there was 2016.
Yes.
And we're having a conversation about how unprecedented that loss was. Yep. And so if it was 2024, there will be 2028 where we will see unprecedented numbers. So it's a journey forward. Now, if you look at the 2024 election compared to 2020, for example, the turnout declined from 13 million voters, okay, to about 11.
Which tends to happen when
40% of voters actually didn't
go out.
Yeah. Which tends to happen when we're about to change government. Yeah.
But
when that then circles back to a question for a delegate, today, which is, which of these 5 candidates can galvanize that to claw back what you lost? Because it's going to be monumental. Nobody had lost election the way you lost and claw back. I mean, John Mahama was the 2016, but the margin was smaller compared to now. Are they weighing, who is in the, because I've had the argument about, we've already marketed one candidate.
Let's go ahead.
And let's sort of bring the candidate back in, because then we are not going to bring a new face. But then there's a conversation about what the other side is going to be doing. The other side will also have a fresh candidate on the ballot.
Right.
Is the delegate thinking about these big questions going into 2020 and making this decision today?
Absolutely, absolutely. And then the context is clear that we are not in power, so there's very little to fight about. Everybody's clear in their mind about the future. So this election is about the future. There isn't anything presently to quibble about why I would vote for A or B. It's about what future we're trying to build for our party. And so that is the preoccupation. And so I think that it's going to be, even though it's a complex and a heavy decision to make, it's going to be one with very limited alternatives to consider. So it's just principally the New Patriotic Party wants to win power. Who is the man to do it? Yeah. But, you know, I want to go back to the 2024 election.
2024.
Yes, and how bad we lost.
Yeah.
For me, I don't believe in that narrative that we lost badly, you know. And you make the point. Before there was 2024, there was 2016.
Yes.
And we're having a conversation about how unprecedented that loss was. Yep. And so if it was 2024, there will be 2028 where we will see unprecedented numbers. So it's a journey forward. Now, if you look at the 2024 election compared to 2020, for example, the turnout declined from 13 million voters, okay, to about 11.
Which tends to happen when
40% of voters actually didn't
go out.
Yeah. Which tends to happen when we're about to
DDP, we should probably do that, and certain other esoteric factors led to their staying at home.
You make an important point that then circles back to a question for a delegate today, which is, which of these 5 candidates can galvanize that base that didn't show up in 2024 to come to the poll now in 2028? That'll be right. So important in the consideration.
Absolutely.
Because the argument is that a huge chunk of your base didn't show up.
Absolutely.
And you say that
very likely, yes.
Very likely, right? And so then it becomes a question of the 5. Are the delegates thinking which of them is in a position to excite that base enough to get them the next time pumped up, excited, looking forward to vote?
Let's waste the time, because maybe if I answer that question, I'll reveal my choice. I don't, that will be campaigning.
But you see, Evans, the difficulty with that analysis, and the NPP has made that analysis. Okay, does the NPP know, for instance? So in the NDC, the Kwesi Committee, the Agyapong Committee, when the report came out, they indicated, for instance, that the NDC did not lose the election, but John Mahama lost the election. Why? Because they felt that the party was unhappy with certain things that he was doing. So they knew they could say, our people didn't go out to vote. Can the NPP say same? Can the NPP say that the NPP lost because a certain segment of Ghanaians felt they were not going to vote for the NPP? And these are people that would ordinarily vote for the NPP. Does the NPP know, for instance, whether it was the middle class saying we're not going to vote for the NPP, or was the masses saying we're not going to vote for the NPP? That for me is very instructive, because if the NPP knows that, then it would actually know how it intends to vote in this. And that's why I say the NPP dilemma is the fact that is the party a masses party or still the party for the middle class? Because what you would have seen is that in the build-up to election 2024, the NDC actually did a lot of professionals for NDC thing. The NDC actually, and we've said before that the moment you had the NPP losing Ayawaso West Wuogon, you knew that the middle class that hitherto would have always supported the NPP was moving away from the NPP. But they're moving away from the NPP also because the NDC had done a good
the shots in the background that this is a very, very busy center. Okay, we'll fix that. But as you can see, Samsung is joining me pretty shortly. He's going to be taking the baton from here and continuing to bring you our coverage of the NPP presidential primary. Just before Samsung comes in, I want to go to Stephen very quickly. Stephen, from where you are, I also see a report that you shared in our group that where you are, we've also seen breakfast being shared. How is this being shared exactly?
Well, Evans, over here, the constituents or the delegates, once you enter, you are scrutinized, you are inspected by the police, and you'll be directed to where the breakfast is being shared. We understand that this breakfast is being shared by the constituency chairman, and it's being provided for all camps. So irrespective of the camp you are provided breakfast. And then you proceed to where the voting is being done, and through then you go out. We also understand that there's heavy presence over here. I can count about 30 to 40 police personnel at the center. That's the Okaikwe North Center. And all delegates are inspected before they enter the voting center and given breakfast.
Okay, and thank you very much. And Precious is also joining us now. Precious is joining us from the Bono region. And Precious, what can you report where you are? Very busy polling center.
Yes, very, very busy and orderly, I must also add. Things are going on smoothly as at now. Election started as scheduled, 7 a.m. it started. And before you even get to the center where the election proper is taking place, you need to go through 2 security checks before you finally get to the center where you can take part in the exercise. It's been quite orderly. The only thing is that elderly and then physically challenged people are allowed to cast their votes and then quickly they exit the place. Quite some notable personalities have been here. As I speak, the immediate past MP of the area, Kyerematen, in the queue, is not ready to engage the media. He has joined the queue up to now, and it's just about getting to him for him to take his exercise. The only challenge here, I must add, is that some regional executives, when they get here, are asked to move to the next constituencies, that is the Sunyani West. Notably, the former regional minister, Awubanahene, came, and then she had to be directed to the next polling center. As of now, a little over 60 delegates have been able to go through the exercise. It's about security. The police are here in their numbers. Currently, the top hierarchy of the regional police are here to also monitor the exercise, and it's going on smoothly. The anticipation from the EC is that they will be able to go through the exercise even before the 2 p.m. time scheduled to end the exercise.
Okay, indeed, and that is what appears to be the trend across the country. Some saying that there's a lot of enthusiasm The delegates are showing up in their numbers very early to cast the ballot very quickly. It's been very orderly so far. No major incidents to report apart from the incidents of sharing breakfast, which obviously is still something that the party needs to sort of explain. In essence, whether or not this is in one of the places, Stephen told us the constituency chairman is providing the breakfast. I guess that is okay. That's fine. But then in Adobia's constituency, where she reported where the various camps have set up their desks where you go, so you decide which breakfast is richer. You know, and then you go and get your share. As I'm saying, that definitely seems to be the trend so far in terms of good orderliness, police completely in charge, delegates excited and showing up early to vote. I wonder what your own expectations are today as you look forward to handling your own team of guests. And I know you have some really, really good individuals who will be helping you navigate the next phase of this coverage.
Right, Evans, and to be frank with you, I've been enjoying what you guys have been doing. I wish I could just sit back, you know, go back home and, you know, watch and listen to you guys. But look, I'm hoping and praying that this thing will end even far before when we are all expecting it will end, so that all of the punditry and the prophetic, you know, pronouncements, people who have put themselves in unnecessary unease, now they have to be going through a headache, you know, anticipating what will happen. So, like I've said, I think the delegates have started well. So the delegates, they should know that only one of the 5 candidates will win. And why will one win? One will win not because of a prophecy or any, you know, projection. One will win because you voted. And especially because you voted nicely, decently, and peacefully to the glory of God. You're a child of God. So let's go do that. And then when you're done, I say, give yourself all the credit. And tomorrow go to church and praise God. Don't give it to any busybody who is invoking God's name noisily because of a needless attention. So Evans, thank you very much. So my team is getting ready. Fatima Abubakar, Esquire, Dr. John Osai Kwapong, who I'm happy because we're going to get him even a lot more because I'll tell you why. Kwame Boafu Akofo, Esquire of Ekropong Ekwapem. Yeah, he is also with us. Kwabena Abankwaya Boa, Sofo Tanko Rashid Computer, and Dr. Arthur Kobina Kennedy.
And you know the question you should ask Tango for me? Why have they set up a collation center?
I asked him to collate
results of
MPP's I was asking what kind of provocative conduct is this? What do they want?
He's one of the busybodies you are talking about.
I think the main reason is to collect data and also gather intelligence. And so, well,
don't mind the
it's mischief. So I'm looking forward to him providing the answer on air.
He's such a provocateur. You know, anyway, okay, thank you guys. Thank you. Okay. So you're still here. This is your election headquarters.